The problem with jackfruit isn't growing it, it's knowing exactly when to harvest. Cut too early and you lose the sweetness that makes it famous. Wait too long and the fruit becomes overripe and unusable. For centuries, Thai farmers have solved this problem with a technique so precise it seems almost magical. In this documentary, we reveal the solution to perfect jackfruit cultivation. A combination of generational knowledge, meticulous care, and a special tapping technique that tells farmers exactly when each fruit has reached its peak. You'll never look at Thai street food the same way again. At the heart of Thailand's jackfruit farming tradition lies a wisdom that can't be taught in agricultural schools. We're standing beside Somchai, a third-generation jackfruit farmer, as he carefully examines fruits from last season's harvest. His calloused hands move with purpose, selecting specific jackfruits for their seeds. We look for the juiciest and healthiest jackfruits of the previous harvest, Somchai explains, holding up a particularly impressive specimen. My grandfather taught my father, who taught me that the sweetest fruits yield the sweetest children. This selection process isn't just practical, it's deeply personal. Each seed represents not just potential fruit, but the continuation of family knowledge that stretches back generations. As Somchai demonstrates his technique, his 12-year-old daughter watches intently, already learning to identify subtle characteristics that most observers would miss. However, this ancient practice faces modern threats. The seasons are changing, warns Somchai's father, Chai, pointing to the sky. When I was young, we knew exactly when the rains would come. Now everything shifts. Sometimes seeds that should grow well fail because the weather patterns have changed. Beyond climate uncertainty, economic pressures push many farmers toward industrialized methods, promising higher yields through chemical solutions. These approaches value uniformity and quantity over the nuanced quality that traditional methods produce. Many young farmers want quick results, says Chai. They don't understand that jackfruit farming is not about speed, it's about patience. The family leads us to their soil preparation area. Here, Somchai's mother demonstrates how she tests soil by sight, smell, and touch, rubbing it between her fingers to assess its texture and quality. She prepares the soil beds entirely by hand, mixing in natural amendments based on what she senses, rather than following a standardized formula. Each batch of soil speaks to me. She says with quiet confidence, "The earth tells you what it needs, if you know how to listen." In their nursery, hundreds of tiny seedlings grow under careful watch. Unlike commercial operations with automated systems, here each plant receives individualized attention. Somchai points out subtle differences between seedlings that appear identical to the untrained eye. "This one will grow strong," he says, touching a particular seedling. "You see how the leaves stand? The color here at the stem? These are the signs my ancestors taught us to recognize." The contrast between traditional and industrial cultivation becomes clearer as we witness the transplanting process, a ritual Somchai describes as a labor of love rooted in tradition. Unlike commercial operations where trees are planted in dense rows to maximize yield per acre, these farmers give each tree ample space, understanding that crowded trees produce stressed fruit with compromised flavor. Perhaps most impressive is the family's dedication to weeding, a practice increasingly replaced by herbicides in commercial farming. "Every weed we remove by hand means more nutrients for our trees," explains Somchai's wife as she methodically clears the area around a young jackfruit tree. This labor-intensive approach contributes significantly to the distinctive quality of traditionally grown fruit. As we walk through a section with more mature trees, the future potential becomes apparent. What begin as humble seedlings will eventually produce fruits weighing up to 30 kilograms, transformations that require years of consistent care and expertise. What makes Thai jackfruit truly special isn't just the tropical climate or fertile soil. It's this accumulated knowledge, impossible to replicate through industrialized methods. The careful selection of seeds, the hand-prepared soil, the precise spacing of trees, and the meticulous weeding all contribute to fruit with a distinctive sweetness and texture that mass production simply cannot match. While growing jackfruit requires years of patient cultivation, there's a fleeting window when the fruit transitions from growing to ripening. This critical moment demands an entirely different skill set from farmers, one that blends traditional knowledge with sensory awareness in the pre-dawn hours when most of Thailand still sleeps. The journey to the jackfruit grove begins well before sunrise. As the first hint of light breaks across the horizon, farmers are already making their way through the orchard. This timing isn't arbitrary. The cool morning air and soft dawn light create ideal conditions for the delicate work of assessment. These early hours offer a sensory clarity that disappears as the day progresses, and heat distorts both the fruit and the farmer's perception. Early in the morning, when the air is cool and the light is just right, a farmer examines each massive fruit suspended above. What follows is a ritual that transforms harvesting from a mere agricultural task into a form of communication between farmer and fruit. Standing beneath trees bearing fruits that can reach 90 centimeters in length, farmers employ a technique refined over generations, the gentle tap. With calloused hands that have performed this ritual thousands of times, the farmer reaches up and lightly taps various sections of the jackfruit's textured exterior. To the untrained ear, the sounds might seem indistinguishable, but to these experts, each response tells a story about what's happening inside. A perfectly ripe jackfruit produces a distinctive hollow sound that indicates the fruit has reached its peak sweetness and texture. The difference between yesterday's unripe fruit and tomorrow's overripe one can be subtle. A single day can transform a jackfruit from perfect ripeness to an unsellable product. This narrow window means farmers must develop an almost intuitive relationship with their trees, reading small changes that signal the approaching harvest moment. As we follow a farmer moving methodically through the grove, the subtle differences in sound become apparent. A fruit that's still days from ripeness produces a dense, solid sound when tapped. As ripening progresses, the sound gradually hollows out until it reaches that perfect resonance that signals harvest readiness. By the time the sun fully rises, dozens of fruits have been assessed this way, with farmers marking those that will be ready for harvest in the coming days. Weather conditions complicate this already nuanced process. Changes in temperature and humidity can accelerate or delay ripening, requiring farmers to constantly adjust their expectations and assessment schedule. A sudden temperature spike or unexpected rain can change everything, forcing farmers to revisit trees they'd previously evaluated and reconsider their harvest plans. What makes this process even more remarkable is the element of danger involved. These aren't small fruits being evaluated. They're massive jackfruits weighing up to 30 kilograms suspended meters above the ground. A fallen fruit poses a serious risk to anyone standing below. The harvesting itself requires sharp tools to make clean cuts at the stem, while the sticky latex that seeps from freshly cut jackfruit can irreparably damage clothing and irritate skin. Moving beneath the canopy, we follow a farmer who pauses longer beneath one particular tree. His expression changes subtly as he spots a jackfruit that yesterday wasn't quite ready, but today emits exactly the right hollow resonance when tapped. He makes a distinctive mark on the tree trunk. This fruit will be harvested tomorrow, having reached its perfect moment. This marking system creates a harvest schedule that ensures each fruit is collected at its absolute peak. Some trees contain fruits at various stages of development, requiring repeated visits over several days or even weeks. Each assessment builds upon previous observations, creating a continuous dialogue between farmer and fruit that spans the entire growing season. Once marked for harvest, each massive jackfruit faces its most vulnerable transition, from tree to transportation. These enormous fruits require delicate handling despite their unwieldy size and the sticky, irritating sap that makes the process even more challenging. The harvesting team works with practiced efficiency, using specialized curved knives with extended handles that allow them to reach high into the tree canopy. Every harvester wears thick gloves and protective clothing to shield against the fruit's natural defense system. A sticky latex sap that can cause severe skin irritation and permanently stain clothing. Watch as our farmer positions himself carefully, calculating both the angle of his cut and the fruit's potential fall path. This isn't simply about removing fruit from a tree, it's a choreographed movement requiring strength and precision. For the largest specimens, a second farmer positions himself below, ready to catch the fruit in a padded basket to prevent bruising during the final separation from the tree. The moment between cutting and catching is where everything can go wrong, whispers one farmer as he wipes sweat from his brow. His partner nods in agreement as they coordinate their movements with brief hand signals developed through years of working together. Once safely on the ground, the jackfruit undergoes immediate post-harvest processing. Workers quickly wipe away the flowing latex sap with oil-soaked cloths before it hardens. This initial cleaning is crucial. Any residual sap will make the fruit difficult to handle further down the supply chain and potentially compromise its market value. The sorting process begins right in the orchard. Each jackfruit is assessed again, this time for external appearance, size uniformity, and any signs of damage that might have occurred during harvesting. The fruits are carefully grouped into different quality grades. Premium specimens with unblemished rinds heading to high-end markets, while slightly imperfect fruits are destined for processing facilities. Loading these delicate giants for transport presents another critical challenge. Observe how workers line traditional wooden carts with soft padding materials, often banana leaves or rice straw, creating protective nests for each individual fruit. The jackfruits are positioned with mathematical precision, never stacked directly on top of one another, with additional padding inserted between each fruit to prevent movement during transport. The caravan of fruit-laden carts winds slowly through narrow rural roads, navigating potholes and bumps with extreme caution. This journey, though only a few kilometers for local markets, represents the culmination of months of careful cultivation. Each bump in turn threatens to undo all the previous care, explaining why drivers move at such a deliberate pace. Upon reaching the market, the relationship between farmer and vendor becomes evident. These aren't anonymous business transactions, but continuations of partnerships that span generations. Farmers and vendors inspect each fruit together, discussing its characteristics and agreeing on prices based on quality rather than through hard bargaining. "We've been selling to the same family for 20 years, explains one farmer as he helps unload his harvest. "They know our fruit, and we know they'll represent it properly to customers." The transformation from farm to street food happens with remarkable speed. Within hours of arriving at the market, skilled vendors have separated the sweet golden flesh from the tough outer rind. Their practiced hands move with blur-like efficiency, slicing the aromatic yellow pods into convenient portions, releasing the fruit's distinctive sweet scent that draws crowds of locals and tourists alike. The market air fills with the unmistakable aroma of ripe jackfruit, creating a sensory experience that connects consumers directly to the orchard. Each purchase completes a chain of expertise that began months earlier with a farmer's careful seed selection and culminated in the precise harvest we witnessed. For fruits designated for longer shelf life, the journey continues to processing facilities where modern methods transform jackfruit into dried snacks. These facilities maintain the traditional attention to quality while employing technology to preserve the fruit's unique flavor profile, enabling its enjoyment far beyond Thailand's borders. As we see these jackfruit dishes being enjoyed at bustling street stalls, we witness the final chapter in a story that began months earlier with careful seed selection. This street food tradition creates a direct line between Thailand's agricultural heritage and its vibrant food culture. Locals and visitors alike experience the culmination of generational knowledge in every sweet, perfectly textured bite. What makes Thai jackfruit truly special isn't high-tech farming equipment or industrial scale. It's this unbroken chain of wisdom flowing from grandparent to child, creating harmony between human hands and nature's rhythms. The next time you taste jackfruit at a Thai market, you're savoring generations of expertise.